Imagine a man standing at an airport. He has no home to return to. His country has just told him he is not welcome. Not now, not ever. Thich Nhat Hanh had spent his life teaching peace. Just that. A bowl, a robe, a few quiet words. So why did two governments on opposite sides of a war both decide that this one quiet monk was too dangerous to allow back home? Hello, and welcome. Relax, and let's begin. Today, we follow the story of Thich Nhat Hanh, a man who lost everything the world calls important, yet became one of the greatest teachers of peace the modern world has ever known. Let's explore together. It was 1926, in the ancient city of Hue, Vietnam, a city of rivers, incense, and temple bells that rang every morning before the sun rose. Nguyen Xuyen Bao was born into a modest family. He was a quiet child, thoughtful, observant, the kind of boy who noticed things other people walked past. At 16, he saw a drawing in a magazine. A monk, sitting peacefully on the grass, completely still, completely at ease with the world. Something in that image stopped him completely. He entered a monastery that same year and took a new name, Thich Nhat Hanh. There, he encountered the teachings of Buddhism, but he approached them differently from the others. He did not want to retreat from the world. He wanted to bring peace into the world. He called it engaged. Buddhism, engaged, meaning actively involved, connected to real suffering in real life, not hiding from it behind monastery walls. He began writing, teaching, reaching people. And here is something few people know. By his mid-20s, Thich Nhat Hanh had already published 10 books of poetry. Not philosophy, not theory, poetry. Because he believed the deepest truths could only be felt, not argued. But the world outside the monastery was about to make everything much more complicated. In the 1960s, Vietnam was burning. American bombs fell in the north. Guerrilla fighters moved through the south. Villages disappeared overnight. And in the middle of all of it, Thich Nhat Hanh refused to choose a side. He traveled to the countryside with young volunteers, students, monks, ordinary people to rebuild homes, set up schools, care for the wounded. He called it the School of Youth for Social Service. He believed that helping people was more important than winning arguments. But both sides of the war saw his refusal to choose as a threat. The South Vietnamese government began watching him. The communists distrusted him. In 1966, Thich Nhat Hanh traveled to the United States. He met with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He spoke at universities, at churches. He asked America to stop the bombing. When he tried to return home, his government refused to let him in. Just like that, the country he had spent his entire life serving closed its door. He had no plan for this. No savings, no permanent home. He moved between France, the United States, and other countries, living in borrowed rooms, on borrowed time. The technical word for what happened to him is exile. Exile means being forced to live away from your homeland, often by your own government, with no clear date of return. He was in exile for 43 years. 43 years without being allowed to set foot in the place he called home. But here is what most people don't know. During those 43 years in exile, Thich Nhat Hanh never once described himself as suffering. He said something that stopped everyone who heard it. I have already arrived. I am already home. In 2001, a journalist asked him directly, after decades of exile, after being rejected by your own country? Don't you feel anger? Don't you feel that your mind never lets you rest? The room went quiet. Everyone waited, because they all wanted to know the same thing. How does a person carry that much loss and still find peace? And what Thich Nhat Hanh said next, no one in that room expected. He smiled, and then he said, very quietly, the present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments. He was not ignoring his pain. He was not pretending the exile never happened. He was saying something much harder and much more honest. That overthinking is not caused by the world outside. It is caused by the mind refusing to be where it is. The journalist had asked about the past. Thich Nhat Hanh answered about right now. That was the whole lesson. He went on to establish Plum Village in France, a mindfulness community that today welcomes over 10,000 visitors every year from more than 100 countries. His books have been translated into 50 languages. His teachings on impermanence, meaning the truth that all things change, nothing lasts forever, including pain, have helped millions of people learn to stop fighting what they cannot control. Today, the mindfulness movement that fills hospitals, schools, and therapy offices across the United States traces much of its roots directly back to him. And perhaps your own restless mind is no different from the one he spent a lifetime learning to sit with. Thich Nhat Hanh lost his country. He lost 43 years, but he never lost his breath, and he never stopped coming back to it. Thich Nhat Hanh's story teaches us that peace is not found when life becomes quiet. It is found when you learn to be present inside the noise. Keep going. Keep learning. The answers you need are found in quiet. Your story is still being written. If this story moved you, tell me in the comments what is the one thought your mind keeps returning to, that you most wish you could let go. Now, take one breath. Just one. Feel it fully. Not the next breath. Not the last one. This one. That is where peace begins. Not tomorrow. Not when life calms down. You are exactly on time.